What's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing fantastic. To get us started in today's video, we've got a tweet that was shared by Bloomberg TV. The Circle CEO and co-founder Jeremy Allaire says they have the safest digital dollar on the internet, as he confirms that the issuer of stablecoin USD coins was able to access deposits at failed lender Silicon Valley Bank as of Monday.
How much damage did the DPEG cause to USD's reputation? And, is it long-lasting damage?
Well, I mean, look, I think what's really notable about what we've seen over the past several days is that, the narrative had been, how do we protect the banking system from crypto? And I think what's taken place here is a demonstration of how do we protect a stablecoin from the banking system itself. And we have long advocated for a full reserve model for digital dollars on the internet. And we've emphasized the risks of the fractional reserve banking system as something that backs that. And so we'll come back to, I know, the regulatory questions, but the important thing here is the result of this has been that, we have been able to actually move the entirety of the reserves, which had already been essentially held in, Circle Reserve Fund with BlackRock, all short-term T-bills, that's about 80% of it, and the remainder with Bank of New York Mellon, to have, the safest underlying dollar digital currency that's out there. And so we're actually coming out of this with an infrastructure, a dollar market infrastructure that's the safest in the world for transacting in the space.
And you flagged, talking of the reserves, you flagged that you had about $3.3 billion US worth of reserves at Silicon Valley Bank. Have you been able to access those? Have you been able to remove those? What's the update on those reserves?
That's exactly right. So, we were able to access those yesterday, and I believe, if not everything, very close to everything was able to clear. And so we'll publish a kind of full update on that today, but that's exactly right. So, we're in a place now where we have, I believe, the safest digital dollar on the internet, and that's really critical.
Have you done enough due diligence on cross-reverse approach?
We have said that we're working with a payments bank, and that's really for handling settlements and transactions, not a reserve bank. And so, sort of money in transit coming in and out of the system, settlement banks are really critical. We'll have more announcements around those kinds of things soon too.
As always, welcome back to Moneyside, your favorite crypto news channel. If you're new here, welcome to the XRP Army. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way you don't miss out on our daily crypto news updates. In more interesting news today, the two biggest banks serving U.S. cryptocurrency businesses collapsed over the last week and had their assets seized by government regulators, providing conspiracy theory catnip for Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, and other media personalities who say it's all a ploy to make room for a U.S. government crypto coin. According to Melissa Tate's tweet, Alex Jones says SVB is the start of the globalist plan to collapse smaller regional banks so that they can be absorbed by the 6 big banks connected to the Federal Reserve, with an end goal to introduce digital currency, aka CBDCs, as a solution to a crisis they created. What are your thoughts on this? Leave a comment down below.
Go back the last 6 months, just grab 4 or 5, because I know I said it about 100 times that I said next they'll start collapsing regional and lending banks to consolidate them into the big 6 globalist banks that own the private Federal Reserve and the European Union Bank and the rest of it. And then out of that, they will call for central bank digital currencies to be rolled out. Just on Wednesday, Biden, the third administration of Obama, put out his big new national directive. In fact, I forgot to re-pull that from Wednesday Stack, the big, quote, new cybersecurity initiative. And you read it, it's really to roll out a central bank digital currency that tracks and controls everything you do. Then they'll try to ban all the normal cryptocurrencies that are actually independent and decentralized power. That's all announced in there. And I said on Wednesday, look for them to crash the regional banks to bring in total control. We know the enemy's playbook. I said, will it be a banking collapse and the central bank digital currency cashless society rollout? Will it be a cyber attack to bring that in? Will it be both? Will it be a massive new terror attack, an escalation of the war? These are all cards, because I've been looking over the enemy's shoulder, what they got in their hand. I don't know exactly how they're going to play the cards. I don't know when they're going to play the cards, but I know what cards they got, and that's a lot. So General Flynn, former head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, former top national security advisor to President Trump, and a true patriot, will be joining us here in about 57 minutes from now. And we're going to cover the waterfront with the general commercial free for an hour straight once he gets on with us. So we're going to hit
Another update coming to us from Payment Infrastructure News. The countdown is on. The ISO 20022 migration weekend is upon us. 72 hours in which history will be made, as noted by DPS, with regard to the switch to ISO in Europe, Canada, Australia, and at Swift CBPR Plus on the weekend of the 18th and 19th of March. An overview of the events will be provided. More on that, we've got yet another tweet from Swift. According to their tweet, ISO 20022 brings benefits to payments, especially in compliance. BNY Mellon co-head of payment production, Isabel Schmidt, says rich data helps banks eliminate false positives and focus on real risks. Listen in.
Number two is risk processes. Again, having structured data allows you to, to make sure that all of your risk processes that you have in line as you process the data, the payment, as well as after the fact when you do your periodic AML monitoring, etc. We anticipate a significant reduction in false positives, right? If I know that this payment is for an individual that lives on Cuba Street as opposed to Cuba the country, for me in the United States, that's an important distinction, right? And if we can do this on the basis of how the payment is formatted, how address information is formatted, that actually makes a big difference.
Before we wind up on today's video, have you ever thought what would happen if Ripple was to win the case against the SEC? Well, below, you can listen to Meta Lawman talk about what happens if Ripple wins. According to his theory, XRP would become unique and the only crypto token that would have the seal of approval from a federal judge, giving it clarity in crypto. This is an interesting scoop you shouldn't miss out on. Listen in.
And I think you and I talked about it last time. What happens if Ripple wins round one at the trial court, or wins to a degree that there's a determination that XRP trading now is not a security, then it's on to Coinbase, Gemini, and the rest of them. Are you going to relist XRP, or are you going to wait for the Second Circuit Court of Appeals? Well, if you think about it, Ripple would be unique. It would be the only token that's got a declaration from a federal judge that it is not a security. So in my mind, it gets hard to not list it, because none of the other tokens you have on your platform at fill in the blank exchange have that seal of approval of a federal judge. I think it tips things dramatically, even though the SEC would come out immediately, say, we disagree, we're going to appeal, judge got it wrong, here's why, whatever. The fact remains that an unnamed exchange may be listing 200, 300 tokens. One of them has the judicial determination it's not a security. One of them that's not listed has this judicial determination. So there's a really, really good argument that it should be real.
Now, listen, honestly, I think we're trying to look at both sides too. This thing could go to distance. It could go in favor of the SEC. And there's 3 more years of global adoption and no U.S. adoption. So I just want to, level a playing field out there.
Yeah, that's right. And the people.
And now as we wind up on today's video, we've got a tweet from Ham, Eggs, and Sam. We're already so far gone, they are planning to bring everything down while they ramp in their new system. This is a total control paradigm that's going to enslave you and your children and their children into this dystopian nightmare of right think and wrong think. Listen in.
So for those who make the case that depositors be damned, as it would create moral hazard to save them, consider the feasibility of a world where each depositor must do their own credit assessment of the bank they choose to bank with. Yeah, Bill, I can imagine that. It's called cryptocurrency, or I am the bank and I don't need them. I don't need any of this. This problem is solved. What we need to do is adopt it and get away from it, but you don't want to do that. You want to kick the can down the road and keep this monstrous system that supports endless war, censorship regimes, and a financial prison that they're building all around us with the $600 transactions and KYC AML requirements that are constantly being ratcheted up. So you always have to jump through more hoops, like the email from Uphold. Do you know this person? What does that have to do with my identity? Fuck off, Uphold. I think they closed my account. I guess they're going to keep my crypto. I don't know. There is no get the right people in here to fix this. Do you see the magnitude of the problem? Do you see how far gone we already are? Do you see what they're planning here to bring all of this down while they ramp in their new system that is a total control paradigm that's going to enslave you and your children and their children into this dystopian nightmare of right think and wrong think? That's where this goes. But, it would be hard if depositors had to consider the feasibility of a world where each depositor must do their own credit assessment of the bank. Maybe we just fuck the banks. Maybe we decentralize banking and become our own banks. What do you think about that?
As always, do your own research and always trade safely, guys. Please keep in mind we're not a licensed financial advisor. All videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and let's have a conversation. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, and please click on that subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you get informed whenever we post our amazing content. Thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next Money Side.